Yeah. So yeah, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah. So what is that we were discussing in the previous class? We have discussed most of the site level implementations, right? Nirup, you can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We discussed XML sitemap, image optimization, everything up to here. We have discussed everything, correct? And we are supposed to get started with technical SEO. Okay, we'll get started. Yeah. So technical SEO deals with technical aspects of the website which help to improve the performance of the website on search engines. See, I told you earlier, website takes a lot of time to load. So websites might load very slowly, might take a lot of time to load, right? And this would impact severely the SEO, right? We are doing SEO to rank the website on Google, correct? To place it on the higher, to in the top positions. But now, if this performance, the technical aspects of the website are impacting it, then that's going to be a serious issue. You have to address it, right? So website, if it is taking 10 seconds to load instead of loading it in 2 seconds, what happens? You will quit, right? You only, if you are using a website and if it keeps loading, you will quit, correct? Right? So that is one problem, one reason, one issue. And another thing is the engagement will be poor, the conversions will be poor, right? You would see a lot of issues, you would see a lot of issues happening just because of poor load times. The crawl stats will drop, the crawling. If website is taking more time to load, even bots will crawl fewer pages on your website instead of crawling more number of web pages. Correct? Everybody? Correct? Are you all getting it? So it's important to improve the performance of the website. So here, if you go to one of these tools, see we use different kinds of tools to understand the load times and performance of the web pages. So let's check this. It will take some time. This is a free tool, tools.pingdom.com, GT metrics, note down, tools.pingdom.com, GT metrics. Okay. So it's taking 1.29 seconds to load and it has 21 requests and performance grade is 84. The pace is 504.5 kb. Yeah, so it is. Let's test once again. Let me take a different. This is actually good. 1.3 seconds is good. 504 kb is good. 21 requests is super good. Performance grade is also 84. Let me try out our website. 4.11 seconds, 82 requests, 1.2 MB is the page size, right? See, ideally it's suggested to keep it less than 2 seconds and page size less than 1 MB and as low as possible. This is also as quick as possible. So quicker the load time, better it is. Even if it is loading in 1 second, it's super good. But try to keep it less than 2 seconds, even in odd cases also, right? And if you're capable of loading, your developer is capable of optimizing it to such a level where it loads in just 100 milliseconds, 200 milliseconds, super good, no problem. Okay. So now when something is like this is going to impact on crawl rate, basically the page size also. See, we took some examples, right? Photos, sending photos on WhatsApp. If it is too heavy, you will be sending only 10 photos with 10 MB data. If each photo is 1 MB, with 10 MB data, you will be sending only 10 photos, correct? If each photo is 100 KB, you can send 100 photos now using the same 10 MB data, correct? Same data, but you can send more number of photos now. Same way, so when you bring down the size of this page, bot will be able to crawl more number of web pages on your website. Got it? Bot will be able to crawl more number of web pages on your website. Hence, your main goal or responsibility in the technical SEO is to bring this down as well as this one. So, as a digital marketer, you may not bring it down, but you have to understand how to bring it down. You have to understand how to bring this down. Okay. So, what should you be doing in order to bring this down? It's important for you to understand now how a web page is built. Now you are checking the load times of this page. It's important for you to understand how this web page has been built, right? This web page is a combination of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, correct? Combination of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, images, right? So there are some practices in this while building this HTML web page. So now there are how many requests? 82 requests. Of this 82 requests, 31 requests are script, JavaScript, 30 are images. CSS is very limited, 80.9 KB. Look at this, 758.1 KB is JavaScript. Your web page is combination of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and images, videos, a lot of these things. So if you could optimize all of these things, your page size will come down. Okay. So one of them, first thing, you have to reduce this request. It's suggested to have less than 100 here, 82, and you can still this bring this down further low, and your website will perform well. So how do we bring this down? So 82 requests, which are these 82 requests? Of this 30 are images. From this 80 you see here, 30 are images, 31 are script. So how do they look? Image, there is an image URL. See, this is an image. See, now for you it's looking like one web page, but this web page has so many images. One image, two, three, four, and five, right? So if you scroll through the page, this way there are so many images. So if there are 30 images, there are 30 different files requests are going to server. So I'll show it to you. This is one image which is hosted on your server, is sitting on your server, and from server it has to come to the browser in order to serve this page. So you are seeing only this web page, but you are not seeing the effort involved, which how many requests are going to the server. Server is sending back this image, this image, so many images. Now think of if all these images were on only one image, single image like college, instead of 30 requests, this would have been just one or two, correct? And now images 220 kb, the size of the images is 220 kb. So if you had combined all the images to one single image, probably in 30 kb you would have had a image file, 30 kb, and 30 requests to only 3 requests, and from 220 kb to 22 kb you would have decreased the size. So if you are sending 20-50 images to your friend on WhatsApp, it takes 50 MB data. If you are sending only, like in case if each image is of 1 MB, if you make all of these images into one single image like college, it will take hardly 2-3 MB, correct? Something like that exactly. Just by implementing that, this 1.2 MB size would come down to maybe 0.8 MB, 400 KB, 400 KB drop. Okay, so that is called as implementing CSS sprites, right? And same way script, if you look at this, control F dot CSS. So these are called as external CSS files. So a web page is like, if you want to see all this borders, right, spacing, color, all this is coming from CSS files. Either it's an inline CSS or an external CSS. So if you are writing CSS along with HTML, it's called as inline CSS. If you are saving CSS in a separate file, and like this separate file, and calling that CSS whenever you want, it's called as external CSS. So for some websites, these external CSS files will be too many. You can combine all of them to one single file, like how you combine the images. Got it? Like this CSS and this CSS. This is called as static slash CSS slash some number is there, correct? Here this CSS also has some number, correct? Two different CSS files. Now I can combine this CSS and this CSS to one single file, and I'll be calling only one single file here instead of two requests. Here you see two, only once. So this is called as combining external CSS. You can combine external CSS and make it a single file. Same with JavaScript also. You can combine multiple JavaScript files. Understanding it? No? This is developed by your website developers or theme developers. If you are using some theme, you are for sure going to use some theme to your website which is already built by someone. So they have to follow all these best practices, not you as a digital marketer. As a digital marketer, you have to understand how all these pages are built. So if you can understand all of it properly, you will be able to instruct. Do not have the JSS. There are so many JavaScript files. This is JavaScript. So you are telling that, see now think of this thing. So in your home, to perform each task, if you have one mission, your home space is not sufficient to have all those missions, correct? To wash clothes, one mission. To wash utensils, one mission. To wash floor, one mission, correct? To wash clothes for different works. To cook, one mission. Now think of how many missions you should have in home. How big your home has to be. You need so much space, right? Every time a new mission is coming to you to perform a new task, correct? Now think of the beauty all in one. Single mission that can perform all the duties. Now you don't need much space, correct? Same way here, to perform different tasks, there are different JavaScript files. To perform this functionality, if I'm clicking on it, it's scrolling, right? To perform this action, this activity, there will be one JavaScript file. And again, to perform this, there will be another JavaScript file, right? So now what I'm suggesting is, instead of saving so many JavaScript files, have only one JavaScript file with all these functionalities inputted in the same. Now think of one robo or one mission doing all 100 things for you. You are just adding that code, right? Program what to do, robo instructions. It does everything, correct? Same way, here you can combine all these JavaScript files. Because why you want to combine? Because it's going to, a request is going to server every time for each of this file, and server is checking if this file exists on the server or not. It is sending back to your browser, and it is all taking some time. Getting it? It is all. Yes. So, but then you can have the CSS or JavaScript within this only. You don't need a separate file. So, if it is saved as .css and if it is mentioned as source, it is an external JavaScript file or external CSS file. Or see, this is CSS. It's there here. CSS JavaScript can be part of your web page also, or stored externally. So now I don't want this many files to be saved on server, and just to display this one web page, 30 requests, 26 have to come from server to your browser. This will impact the performance or speed of your website. Clear? So now suggesting to reduce all this to fewer, 1, 2 or maximum 3, right? So this automatically the 31 requests will come down to 3 if you're combining all of them. Got it? Like how you combine images, same way you are going to combine, and this 82 will now become some 30 when you bring down the image request and this request. You don't do, these are all technicalities. You just have to understand how to read the data. You will be checking it here. Thermometer, can you build it? But you will be able to read the data on thermometer, correct? Correct. Same way here, using these tools you will be able to check if that is the correct number or not, if it is appropriate or not. You are learning or understanding what kind of temperature indicates it's a fever. Above 99 degrees, it's considered to be as fever. And what is the maximum fever range? Correct, 104 only. You have to tell. Okay. So 104 is the highest range, right? So same way here we are understanding, we are using this tool like thermometer to check the body temperature. Same way to check the website, we are using this tool. Load time 4.11 seconds, it's high. Suggested to keep it less than 2 seconds. Now how can we bring down, if it is body temperature, how do we bring down? We take medicine, correct? Paracetamol, right? Same way here, we understand what has to be done. Okay, and this is all done by the technical experts who build the websites, who has understanding of building the websites. You as a digital marketer have to understand how can it be brought down, but when it comes to implementations, they will take care of it. Clear? So now as a digital marketer, if you have limited knowledge about this, or if you are building your websites on WordPress, by changing the theme to the lighter versions of the theme. See, the theme that you are using is built by someone else, and they will build it on their own choice, correct? This request can be high, this load time can be high, the page size can be high. So if they are following the best practices and building the themes, and if you are using such themes, your website performance will be good. So from your end, you changing the theme should fix it sometimes. Or if you are using a WordPress website, if you are building a website on WordPress, there are a couple of plugins or certain things which you can do and optimize your website. Okay, so there is something. See, add expiry headers, compress components with zzip, make fewer HTTP requests. Fewer HTTP requests, you may have to eliminate certain amount of content. Like if you're adding too many images onto your web page, remove some of them. Don't go with too many images. That's what you could do as a digital marketer, or change the theme, right? Compress components with zzip, add expiry headers. This can be done by plugin or adding a piece of code to your .htaccess file on the server. This can happen. I will write it here. If you are a WordPress website, what you should be doing. If your website is built on WordPress, you can use some plugins like auto optimize and optimize some of the technical aspects of setting up cache or adding expiry headers, then uh, compress content or gzip content, eliminate the query strings in the URL and many more using the optimize plugin. Alternatively, instead of auto optimize, you can update, you can uh, implement the instructions or code in .ht access file as in the below reference. Okay. Yeah. So the first thing that's going to impact your performance is poor hosting plans. You're buying server from a hosting provider where the RAM is limited or shared hosting. Yeah. Avoid shared hosting. Remove query strings in WordPress. Query strings are the multiple versions of the original URLs or source files. Either contain question mark or ampersand in them, and these kind of URLs are usually not cacheable and would send unnecessary requests to the server for every time they have to serve or render a web page. To avoid this, query parameters have to be removed from the URL, and to do this, the WordPress you can follow one of the approaches. Install WP Cache or any other plugin that can remove query strings or remove query strings manually. You don't have to download and activate any plugin which typically may impact. So you can add this piece of code. Query parameters or query strings are additional components that gets added to your URLs every time. Okay, and if you have to remove them, you can simply add this piece of code to your .ht access file. .ht access file is a control file residing on your server, like how we put robots.txt, same way we put .ht access file on your server. And in this file, basically you will have the instructions or commands for your server, what to consider, what not to consider, right? So gzip. So you can do all of this using a plugin, or you can add simply these pieces of code or line to your .ht access file.